Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this November 19th, 2022. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated and Ag Risk Advisors. Well, we've just gone through a very cold period of weather across the West. Very cold temperatures, in fact, record cold in some areas, as it really felt more like January than November in many areas. We've picked up a little bit of snow. Good to see that moisture, but everyone will be happy to hear that the Arctic chill is going to ease. We don't see an Arctic outbreak happening for a while. Once this moves out, we will have a period of time where it'll be, let's say, more moderate. Not necessarily really warm, but closer to average temperatures in the West, as the activity, the most active stormy weather, will be in the central and the east over the coming week. We've got one system coming across the West late Tuesday into Wednesday that may bring a little bit of winter weather, but it won't be an Arctic system, a Pacific system. And then we'll see that system become a larger storm in the Great Lakes and New England areas and Northeast later in Thanksgiving week and Thanksgiving weekend. Now, we do see after this period of time where it's going to be a little more moderate, right at the end of November, or let's say the first days of December, is when we're likely going to start to see a colder regime come back in again and better chances of snow. Precipitation over the last week has been not nearly as heavy as it was the week before, but we've gotten some pretty good snows again across Montana, parts of northern Wyoming into the Dakotas, and then some snow into the Colorado Rockies, a little bit back into the Pacific Northwest, but you can see the heavier moisture definitely on the other side of the nation with areas of rain and some snow in those areas. Speaking of snow, snow cover getting further and further into the U.S. And after this weekend, we'll see some of the snow getting a little bit further south into the east. And we may be looking at some snow potential late Thanksgiving week and Thanksgiving weekend in that part of the U.S. as well, with maybe some more snow coming into the Pacific Northwest later into the late Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe of next week. The colder weather as we get into today's forecast on the 18th here and the 19th, looking at the cold going more to the eastern part of the nation with the cold core over Hudson Bay, Canada, driving that colder air into the Great Lakes. You've probably been hearing on the news about the big lake effect snows in Buffalo and other Great Lakes states, and they're going to see a lot of that through the weekend as the Arctic air goes into there, while the West has a more moderate pattern moving in, not necessarily really warm, but certainly warmer than the Arctic chill. As we get towards the middle of this upcoming week, we do have another front coming. So you can see this front coming through the Dakotas and Montana, through Wyoming here into the upper plain states and Midwest. This is probably going to produce some snow in the Pacific Northwest Mountains and the central and northern Rockies towards the middle of next week. So for you Thanksgiving holiday travelers in the West, we'll kind of need to watch this system Tuesday night and Wednesday. But by the time it heads east, that's where it's going to grow into a bigger storm into the Great Lakes in the northeastern United States Thanksgiving weekend. So Thanksgiving weekend, this area of the U.S. will be cold and rainy and snowy and stormy. But you see this high pressure area right here? Well, the West, after the system moves through Wednesday, the western United States will see a more benign pattern as we get into Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, Friday, and Thanksgiving weekend. This weather out here off the Pacific coast, that's what's likely going to come in right at the end of the month and into early December, getting us back into a cold, unsettled weather pattern again. Over the next 7 days, you can see that the heavier precipitation definitely focused in the southeast and the eastern areas and the northeastern parts of the United States. A little bit more in the way of scattered areas of snow across the west. And then you can see the snow forecast is really skewed to the northeast and the far northern border areas of the state for the next week. But we think this is temporary. Right around that beginning parts of December, we'll start to see more in the way of snow and cold come back into this part of the country as well. Our next update will be the 26th. Have a great week ahead and have a happy Thanksgiving.